Welcome back, guys. It's Brian and Brian with the message in the machine. I think that's the name we're going to go with. I like that
I
one.
think so. The
Uh,
message in the mystery. Oh, I can't even say it today.
so, to introduce myself, my name is Brian Hill. I own a marketing agency called I Sell Words. I'm wrapping up some components of it and shutting some parts of it down because I want to teach business owners how to get out here and market themselves and create their own content so that they can really take advantage of the opportunity that's available for user generated content. I'll explain what that is later on.
Yes, and I am Brian Gesser. I also own a marketing agency, if that's what you want to call it. But mostly, I just fix broken marketing systems. I kind of thought about it more today, what to say onto here to explain it, and I came up with this little analogy with which is what's different about me is I'm like a mechanic. You go in, I find out your problem, and I try to fix it. Real simple. Uh, what most other agencies do that I don't like is that they try to sell you the car part
Mhm.
before they even know what's wrong with the car, right? So that's kind of how I do it. I own 531 Labs. We really focus in on the systems in your business and how that pertains to marketing and the customer experience.
Okay. Yeah, they give you that old treatment of the shady mechanic where you go in with one issue and then you leave with four other ones.
Correct.
And so
Correct.
I like that analogy. I think it's really problem oriented because
Yes.
more times than not, when you're dealing with a marketing mismatch or marketing misfire, it's not the entire system that's broken. It's maybe one or two steps that you may not be equipped to see. And so
Right.
you bring in Brian, and he can kind of sit down and say, okay, this is what's wrong. Let's adjust this problem and see. It falls kind of the unstuck framework that I use when I'm like talking to clients. Let's figure out where your bottleneck is, remove the bottleneck so everything can start flowing downstream until you get to the
100%.
next bottleneck. And that's
Yeah.
just how it goes.
Yeah.
So today's live stream is really it's called How to Use Social Media as a Business Tool in 2026. Realistically, we're trying to give you a short playbook for how to use social media to market your business. And so the live stream is for business owners who feel confused or behind. If you're feeling overwhelmed about the tickety talk or the face space and all these other things, and you don't know where to go, we want to give you a little bit of understanding about a general game plan. Because here's the thing, all these social media platforms, they got different formats, they got different types of content, but the rules that govern them are pretty much the same in terms of how to have success on them. There's some variation on how often you got to post and things like that, but there's some general rules that you can follow and have success on any one that's your chosen social media space. And so that's what this episode is. So, if that sounds valuable right now, if this sounds valuable, I want you to go share this with somebody, tag somebody, share the link so that they can see it in real time.
Yes, please do.
And if you got
Um,
questions, jump in the comments too.
yes, that too. And the reality, I guess, to play on the purpose of what we're doing here is most people weren't ever taught how to market
Mhm.
themselves. I mean, if you're a pizza shop owner, you've been taught how to run a kitchen and make pizza, not how to market pizza, not what I'm supposed to do on social media, not all the techie stuff behind it. No one ever taught you any of that stuff, right?
Mhm.
So that feeling of being overwhelmed doesn't mean that you're bad at it. It just means you don't know what you don't know. And
Right.
that's kind of what we want to focus on, right?
Right.
So we want you to leave knowing what to do first and then what you might be able to ignore,
Right.
right?
A- And
So we
and
can jump right
sometimes,
into it.
yeah, sometimes that solution is simple as hire son, daughter, niece, nephew, give them a cell phone and let them stand over in the corner and record you making pizzas and post it on TikTok.
I'm
Yeah,
I'll keep coming back to these people because they
yeah.
they just kind of went viral in the last 6 months or so, and now they're super popular on social media. And it is exactly what Brian just said there. The son of this pizza joint in New York City called Crispy's, already popular on their own right, just being around for 80 years or whatever, right? but they weren't popular online. But now they're just their content is popular, and there's pizza shops all over the country now copying some of the food that they're doing,
Hmm.
right? And it started, like you said, with the son who's 20 something filming his dad and his uncles, right? And that's you can do that. That's how it can start if that's what makes sense for you, you know?
Right. So it doesn't have to be complicated, but sometimes you need somebody to kind of say, hey, this is the easy way to get started. So
Right.
here's the thing. A lot of things I mentioned all those social media platforms to say this. It can feel overwhelming for a lot of business owners. Let me let you in on a secret. It feels overwhelming for a lot of marketers too. Like we are in a season where there's so many different social media options and there's always something new coming out and it's reaching a new population of people and there's a new way to share content that people want to see. um, I'm on TikTok. I'm on that lemon 8 thing. I have no idea what that is. I don't know what it I don't know what purpose it serves. I'm on it. I don't know what it does. And I've been on it and I can't figure it out. I do this for a living. I cannot figure out what this social media platform exists on or exists for, but there are people that are absolutely using it to crush it because they understand it. So
Yeah.
it can feel overwhelming. Um, and so maybe we can absolutely maybe we can demystify some of this stuff.
Yeah, 100%. And just so a point before we move on to the next kind of main point, um, it doesn't mean that you're behind. Don't feel as if you need to be rushed and you need to hurry up and get something out there. You need to, you know, the Mike Tyson rule. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. So
Right.
don't worry about too much about being overwhelmed with it, and just get your feet wet, and then you kind of slowly ramp up once you get the hang of it. And Brian knows this more than anything, especially something I'm going through, which with not being out there as much as I've wanted to over the years. But get in the reps. You need to get the reps, and as you do more reps, you'll get better at these things.
Right.
Um, so yeah, it doesn't mean you're behind, and it doesn't mean that what it does mean is no one's explained to you before where to start, and that's kind of where um, we come in,
Right.
right?
And the beauty of it is, I mean, the beauty of starting on social media marketing is if you're brand new to it and this is like you're starting out with no people following your account, your early efforts, there's a good chance that nobody's going to see them. And so you
Yeah,
get a chance to get the reps out there, get through the entire feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm putting this out there and the world's going to judge me. But you have the benefit of nobody seeing it. And so you get a chance to not be polished when you first start without the threat of instantly somebody seeing it.
yeah,
And that is a benefit to you. I think a lot of times people obsess too much about how they're going to come across on social media, and they don't really see the inherent value that they're bringing to just showing up. So,
yes. So don't blame yourself.
right.
So today's beginner friendly and it's practical, and we're gonna try our best. It's hard being marketers sometimes, but no jargon,
Uh-huh.
no pressure. So go ahead. We can get right into the biggest beginner mistakes here,
That
Brian.
works for me. So, most people start by asking what they should be posting. Um, I think one of the things is the thing that's going to determine what you should be posting. First of all, I would say tell the story behind your business, introduce yourself, talk about you, what your business is, and what problem you solve. If you go with what problem you can solve for a client, you're going to nail a lot of um, the problems that people are going to be looking for. If you can say, "This is what I do, and I can fix this problem for you." Um, Start out with the things that people typically come to you for. Um, Say you are run a transmission shop. Okay, what things that are preventable do people normally come to you for? What kind of simple maintenance can they do to prevent from having transmission issues? Those are simple, low hanging fruits that you can either type that out, write it out, or record yourself saying it. Like that's where I should, start with what your expertise is. That's where I would say.
Yeah, it definitely your frequently asked questions is probably the best place to start for creating your content. I would say
Hey.
the next one, or simultaneously with kind of that is who are you talking to, right?
Hmm.
What To find out who your customer is, and I know a lot of people say this, and I don't want to be like every other marketer and be like I don't want to be vapid about my education I'm trying to put out there, but you do need to find out who you're talking to because then you can massage the delivery or massage what you're saying
Right.
specifically to reach the person that you're trying to sell something to, right? I mean,
Right.
that's the whole idea here, and we can't be what's the word I'm looking for? We can't be afraid to sell something. Don't be
Right.
afraid to make money. I mean, that's the whole thing. Maybe that's the Midwest in us
Yeah.
where
Well.
we get caught up in that. Like, I feel weird talking about money. I feel weird about asking for money. Well, you're a business.
Hmm.
Don't be afraid to ask for people to buy your product or service.
Well, and the mindset shift really is, you're solving a problem for them, and so
Right.
it's feeling like, if they don't pay you to do the service, you're not able to address or remedy their issue. And so you almost make it where it's like, I'm trying to help you with whatever you're trying to solve. If you're hungry, I'm trying to feed you. If your car sounds funny, I'm trying to fix it. And so I think if you frame the money ask in that sense, as long as you're selling a good quality product and you're not ripping people off, um, you should be able, like, change that little part in your mind and say, hey, I'm not taking their money. I'm actually giving them something that they're looking for. And if I don't give it to them, if I don't provide it to them, they're going to go find somebody else to provide it. And it may not be of the same quality that I'm willing to offer. They may not be willing to put in the same blood, sweat, and tears to deliver this thing and improve their lives. And so, yeah, asking for money is an uncomfortable conversation. I still get uncomfortable asking for it.
Hmm.
But it's just, it's a byproduct of having to do business. Money is essentially, that's how, people, when you're a business owner, that's how people show that they value what you do,
Yeah,
you know?
and I kind of got ahead of ourselves because this is step one.
Yep.
Pick the type of person,
Yep.
right? And then let's go with this. Let's just move to this thing. So pick the type of person, pick their main problem out of your frequently asked questions,
Mhm.
and then like give them one simple result and make that your first. You can either make it your first post or make it your
Mhm.
first 10 posts. Make it all about that.
Right.
If you can create content around like that much content around that one thing,
Mhm.
because that's what people want to know about, clearly.
Right. And you will get sick of your own marketing well before your client even sees it. And so
Hmm.
you may feel like a broken record, but you'll get sick of it before they even crosses their feed. Just the way that most of these social media platforms are set up, most of your followers aren't going to see your stuff. You might get, some places 5, 10%. And they're trying to incentivize you to boost, to put some money behind and promote the stuff that you're posting. So most of your clients aren't going to see your initial stuff. So you can be a broken record on it and keep delivering the same message over and over and over and over again. To the point where it ends up becoming kind of your call sign on social media. It's kind of your identifier.
Hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I know that like one of the points we have here is clarity makes the content easier,
Hmm.
and I actually struggle with this for my own stuff. For some reason, I can do clients in my sleep, right?
Hmm.
But for my own stuff, I have problem making it clear because I have so many people lately. So, what is it you do?
Yeah.
Right? I hear that so often, and I'm like, I'm trying to get. That's where the broken fixing broken problems like a business mechanic. That's where that analogy comes in because I'm trying to figure out how I can get across that of what I do. So, clarity is going to make your content easier, and it has since I figured that out how to say that. I've been able to explain it faster, and people get it faster, and boom. Now, this is anecdotal, but as soon as I got clear,
Hmm.
I started getting more people reach out to me.
Right. And
And like your point here that you have, you can talk a little bit about this. Social social platforms reward clear messages.
They do. They reward clear messages because a lot of times, on social media platforms, they start building a platform or they start building a profile of you. And this is so that when somebody buys ads or whatnot, they can kind of have an easy way to engage a specific audience or subgroup of people. And so they're going to build a profile of things you like, the things you don't like. And it's all based on what you watch, what you follow, and all that other stuff. And so when you have clarity, they know exactly, social media knows exactly where to put your content. It knows what audience to put it in front of that's going to watch it and engage with it the most. And so that's what the clarity piece comes in. Additionally, I will throw this in. One of the fastest ways that I found to get clearer on my messaging is turning on the camera and getting in front of it. Because
Yeah.
once you start talking it out, being on camera and recording yourself really forces you to get to the point and whittle it down. It gets you out of your
A
own head.
real low key usage of that no one, I don't even think we talked about it the last couple of times, but low key usage of AI is talking to it.
Yeah.
Like literally turning on the voice chat. It's not as smart as because correct me if I'm wrong, but ChatGPT, if you use the voice one, it knocks down the model,
Yeah, I think
what
so.
model it's using. So it's not as smart, but it's still smart. So talking with it and having having like this AI soundboard that's literally talking back to you, it really helps. Like I don't want to call it a therapist, but it is kind of a business therapist. You know what I mean?
Well,
Um,
it's
Go
kind of
ahead.
an outside voice that frames, like, can give you a little bit of perspective. For me, the way I treat my chat GPT is it really helps me organize my thoughts. So I can
Hmm.
dump in jumbled, kind of disassemble thoughts into it and then tell it, hey, help me organize this, or help me find a way to say this, say all of this in a more concise manner. And that's what I use it for. I'm realizing though, like, it knocks it back a model. That might not be a bad thing because I think the latest updated chat GPT kind of made it dumber again. Like
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm dealing with um it, like, I'm having content bleed and all kinds of other weird things. It's giving me some weird responses. And so
Yeah,
um maybe the secret is using the voice chat and let it drop back down a model or something or two.
yeah, I could see that. Because I
So
even use it, like you said, organizing your thoughts is good, and then it'll say something back and maybe give you some ideas or something, and then I'll interject and be like, well, we can't say that because it's just you can't say that and it can't do it that way. It has to be something like this, and I give it my expertise again,
mhm,
and then it comes back. Oh, you're right when you think of it that way, and it's just this good organizational thought process of your thoughts, and it gets you better at, like Brian said, gets you more clarity in how you speak about your business and what you sell. So
yeah,
it's very, very helpful. I know that's not social media necessarily, but the process of social media is this: you have to get clear and understand what you're selling, or you're not going to be able to clearly explain or give content for people
right,
that they're gonna engage with, and that's the whole
right.
point. Don't worry about how many followers or anything like that. That the real thing you're measuring on social media is eyeballs and attention.
Yeah. Dollars in pockets. That's what matters.
Yeah.
Dollars in pockets. Because I could tell you, and I've seen a lot of people in the marketing space talk about this. They are shocked about how broke a lot of these big time influencers are on social media. These people with millions of followers and stuff. They're shocked about how little money they actually have. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that their conversion, their for them converting is whether somebody follows their channel, but they don't have anything else to offer besides that. They're not even doing merch or anything along those lines. And so their conversion, the thing that's like a conversion is, oh, they followed my channel. Well, for a business owner, that ain't the way to go.
Right.
um, you don't want a million people that don't pay you. That's just, that doesn't make any sense. And yeah, oh, he has a million followers, but none of them are his client base. So what difference does it possibly make?
Yeah.
And so it's just
Yeah.
it's reframing how we think about the use of this technology and stuff as we move forward. um one of the things is that I run into is people say, what platform should I use?
Hmm.
This goes into getting to know who your audience is. If you know who your audience is, you know where they live online, then you can pick what social media platform you can reach them with. You don't have to be on all of them.
Right.
Um, Now, there's a couple of things that I will kind of say for me are consistent. I have to have a YouTube presence just because that's the single biggest potential audience. And plus, it's almost like free video storage for me. Um, yeah, so I have to be on YouTube. Um, but I have a following on Facebook, and so my stuff is going to be on Facebook. um, LinkedIn, not so much. I'm trying to build out my capacity and build out my audience on LinkedIn. um, but maybe you can speak a little bit more about what you think about in terms of platforms that people should be using.
I think so. Here's what I think. I think you find, like we already said, find out who it is you're supposed to be talking to, find out where they live and where they spend their most time on what platform, right? Um, we can kind of get into that. I don't really know off the top of my head the best way for a beginner to kind of go do that, but neither here nor there. You find out who the person is, where they live, and then you create content for that one, right? So
Hmm.
let's for example, let's say your people live on LinkedIn, right?
Hmm.
Your customer base is on LinkedIn. It's executives, it's career-minded folks, et cetera, et cetera. Find out what does best on LinkedIn, create that content, but then here's the catch. The tools out there let you post it everywhere so simply now.
Right.
Just post everywhere, but create specifically for one and then post it everywhere.
Well,
That would be my idea on the platforms. You're going to focus on one for sure. And that's the one you care about, but it's so easy to post to all of them at once now anyway. Just do that. Yeah, that'd be my advice.
so, and I would also, if we're looking, like, if you're coming from a standpoint, like, I don't even know, I don't even have a place to get started. What are you most familiar with? What are your skills? Are you a good
Mhm.
writer? If you're a good writer, it's going to look like this. If you aren't a great writer, or you're better at audio, you can do this. Really, it's about finding out what you're most comfortable with. And if you are on social media but you don't use it for business, giving a lot of caveats here, um, pick the one you're most familiar with and start there.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Pick what you're most familiar with and start there, because more times than not, the rules are kind of the same, and the one you're most familiar with is probably going to be the one that you engage people the most on anyway. And so
Yeah.
start where you're
I can see
familiar.
that
And I did
for
design a
sure.
little tool. I'm trying to find the link for it. I designed a little tool that helps people figure out what social media they need to be a present, or what social media they need to be on as business owners. And so if I can find it, I'll post it in the comments here, so that you guys can access it if you want.
So that's a good segue into step 2, which is, what do you say?
Yeah.
When you find your social media platform, what do you start saying? Um, you don't need to be clever. I mean, there's going to be I feel like there's going to be a lot of repetition in what we say today, but we're trying to keep
Hmm.
it real actionable for what you can do. But like, you don't need to be clever. You just need to be clear and find out what it is people are searching for, what you get asked the most, and what you feel deliver the most value to people. Right. So
Right.
going back to the transmission shop, you know, the best thing you can do is don't hard shift your car or whatever. I don't know anything about
Yeah.
transmissions, but you find out that that's the main problem. People shift their car weird. They're over revving or those kinds of things. And you come out and be very clear with those things, and you can try to be funny or entertaining, whatever feels natural. And that could be another conversation. You can kind of go off on that, Brian,
Yep.
a little bit. Whatever comes natural to you. If you're not a funny person, you're more clear, straightforward, then just be that guy, because that's what they're going to get when they're coming to the shop. So don't be something like, don't disconnect the consistency when they see you online and then they see you in person. You're this guy that's wearing clown hats and stuff, and you come in there and you're just this crazy angry shop owner because
Yeah.
you're stressed out. you know
Like this super because that will be jarring. um I will say, yeah, be yourself on there. because you want to attract clients that are attracted to who you are, um, as opposed to this character that you design. And so there has to
Mhm.
be some level of congruency between who they see on social media and their experience when they walk in. And so if you're this super gruff, straight to the point person, your social media probably needs to be straight to the point. No BS, cut through it. Some people will resonate and absolutely attach to that, and they will value what you do because you don't BS them.
Right.
That's your audience. That's who you want.
Now, another caveat:
That's true. Yeah,
if
I
you
get where
if
you're
you're
going.
if you're absolutely terrible on camera and when you watch it, you're like, oh boy, maybe uh, pictures and words are better, or you find somebody else that
Yeah.
can do it for you, right? Um, Nothing needs to be fancy because right now, as far as video goes, authentic authentic video or authenticity
Mhm.
is the way to go, and that's what's booming on social video right now. Especially because of all the weird AI stuff, people want real and know they're listening to a real person and not some fake uh, AI generated person.
Right.
So you and a phone camera is the way to go. Like even you don't need to be fancy, is what I'm getting at. And you don't need perfect wording or anything like that. Be authentically you. That's I
Mhm.
guess that's the main point here, and the main thing to take away from this step is be you, be authentic.
Right.
I can assure you, I know Brian in person. He's who he is on this camera. I'm sure he'd say the same with me. I
Yep.
don't try to cut corners. I always overspeak and over deliver, so that's a problem I'm trying to get better at. Um, and you just got to be you, man. I don't know what else to say it. I don't inject politics or religion or anything weird like that that gets people triggered or anything like
Mhm.
that. I'm here, and when I talk to people, it's about business, and I try to be straightforward with it, you know.
Yeah.
And
And that's kind of like for me, it's one of those things where, I have my little comic book social commentary live stream that I do. It's separate from what I do, but it's what I do in my downtime. And so I don't get on there and pretend to be somebody I'm not. And I think a lot of times we get so obsessed with the presentation of how we're presenting ourselves, that we instantly start fretting about that. How are they going to perceive me and stuff like that? Now, if you are absolutely obnoxious troll online, you can 100% expect that that will show up on your social media in your comments. Like if you just are complete obnoxious goober to everybody on social media, yeah, then yeah, because social media is social. And so if you make yourself a pariah in one wing of social media, it's going to follow you from place to place.
mhm,
So when I worked group homes, I used to tell my kids, it's like, don't post anything on social media that you wouldn't feel comfortable putting a picture or portrait of yourself on, stamping that onto a bathroom wall in a rest stop and then signing your name to it. Like
right,
you got to be a little bit smarter than that. But realistically, most people are going to fall in that middle range where they're not just trolling, they're not edge lord trolling people just for shits and
for
giggles. And
fun.
so yeah, and you're not going to have to worry about that. But like I use the example of locally we have I think it's H&H Chevrolet. They hire these twins that are like from Louisiana or Tennessee or somewhere, and they basically act like the spokespeople for all of these auto dealers all over the country. And so people just assume that they're local and they're really not. They're paid spokespeople, but they associate them with their brand. And so
Right,
you can do that internally by finding somebody, if you don't like to be on camera, finding somebody that is kind of the face of your brand that works with you and knows what your expectations are in terms of messaging, and let them be the face of it. You know, we always say, you know, you can always pay a teenager to record TikToks for you. You just got to make sure that the teenager isn't acting like an insane person on other parts of the internet.
right. Even if you just film it in, like, there's ways to do. Let's give this as a tip, I guess. There's ways to do it so you can have somebody, a teenager or whatever, somebody in your office, film something in your let's use a different example. Your bakery. You own a
Uh-huh.
bakery. They film you making some stuff. You don't have to talk or anything. They can do a voiceover. You can do an AI voiceover with captions and all that stuff if you want to. But just showing, you know, how the bread is made or how the sausage is made, as they say, showing how things are made in a point of view is a good way to start your social media journey and your content journey as well. Um, people I think we've said it before on two previous episodes, but like people watch anything on the internet. I watch people mow lawns, I
Yeah.
watch people do stuff like that. I mean, it's I don't know why I watch it, but I do.
The ASMR stuff is a huge lane, and so, if you just set up a camera on the side of a bakery and show yourself making bread and put a little music behind it, um, people will sit there and watch that, and then all you gotta say is, "You want this loaf of bread? This is where you can get it."
Yeah,
Boom, you've done marketing for yourself, and you haven't had to say a word to the camera. You're
right.
just
That works
showing
on
them the
me.
process.
That works on me, and I will tell you this, and Brian will say the same thing. We are the hardest people to sell to.
Yeah,
Marketers are the hardest people to sell to because they're like, I know what you're doing.
yeah,
I'm not, I'm not, you know, they're not that anybody's being bad or anything. I get it, and I'm not easily sold to, but I'll be damned if I don't have almost every pizza joint in the Omaha metro area um, on my Instagram that I follow because I've seen them making pizza or whatever in my
right,
reels. You know what I mean? And I've
exactly.
gone to most of them as well because I'm like, I got to try this joint out. You know?
And I think that's kind of the thing. I mean, there's so many like I'm going through our notes, making sure I hit my bullet points, but um, marketers are typically. I'm kind of in the middle. I can either be like, if you're really good at what you do,
Yeah.
I may buy from you because I just appreciate the art.
Yeah.
I had a young man trying to sell me, I think it was solar panels on my house. I'm not buying solar panels for this house. There's no way I'm doing that. Um, but he was really good at it. And I said, man, that was really, really good. I'm not going to buy anything from you, but you really have this pitch nailed down. And I kind of went through the different things that he hit. And I said, you spoke to the pain point. You got me engaged. Like, keep it up. You're gonna find success doing this.
Yeah.
Um, but he almost like it, he would have sold me on it had I kind of said, I am not buying solar panels for this house. There's no way that's gonna ever happen. Um,
Right.
but it is, I can also be very difficult to sell to. I know I've kind of given a couple of car dealers nightmares when I walk into a dealership. I've had one tell me, man, it's really intimidating having you as a customer. Like, why? He's like, you brought a notebook and you're taking notes and you're not accepting any of the stuff I'm trying to give you. Um, and you won't take the car ride, you won't take the car home, you won't do the stuff that we normally do. Um,
Right.
and so I fall on both sides of that. If you're really good at it, I can be impressed and say, all right, you win. That was a great pitch.
Yeah. That's
Um,
good.
my
You have
son
no
is
power
actually
here. Most of yeah. Yeah.
My son is actually he's working on his pitch. He's working on his pitch. He's selling stuff at school. Like, he sells monsters and little snack things at school. So it's fun helping him out and helping him kind of figure out what his pitch is to sell stuff. So
Yeah. So my she's almost 12, 11-year-old was trying to this is hilarious. I can't believe I haven't told the story to you before, Brian, but
mhm,
she wants a TV in her room. And number one thing me and my wife did a bit before we had kids, because neither of us grew up with TVs in our room, we weren't
mhm,
allowed. It was like whatever we do, no TVs in the bedroom.
mhm.
So she tried to sell me on having a TV in her room, telling me that if you put a TV in my room, I won't watch my iPad as much. No, now, on the surface, it falls flat.
Yeah.
I'm a businessman, I'm a marketer, but she's trying. I
Yeah.
said, look, I respect the hustle, but no, you know,
Salient point. That's a very salient point, but unfortunately, you're going to need to try again. You need to come up with a pain point that speaks to mom and dads, and
right.
make sure it aligns.
Yeah.
But
So good stuff. Kids are great. I
kids
love
are
teaching my
natural
kids.
salesmen.
Yeah, heck yeah, they are.
Um,
100%.
And the reason why, and I know we're aside, kind of far afield, but the reason why children are better marketers is because they think in terms of benefits. Does this benefit me or does this not benefit me? Does this benefit you or does this not benefit you? They aren't weighed down by all the other worldly stuff.
Yeah, they're
Kids
uninhibited.
they think in terms of what is the benefit I'm getting out of this and what benefit can I convey to you? And that makes them natural. Like 7-year-old is a great marketer.
Hmm.
You know, it's hot out here. Don't you want lemonade? Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sure. All right. So a couple of
We,
things here.
we don't
So
need ice cream. Sorry,
yeah,
I want one more. We don't need ice cream.
no,
It's freezing cold out. It's warm inside there.
yeah.
Like, okay,
Go warm
valid
up and
point.
get some ice cream.
Yeah.
So we talked about the goals not to go viral. We're not getting likes or followers. Social media does not close deals. We take those offers offline. We take the conversation offline. Really, it's just to see who's in alignment with your offer and then figure the way to get them to walk in and walk into your shop or go to your website and actually transact business. But it's not an automatic closing thing for you. Um, that is one of the things that I think a lot of influencers that actually do have a business model set up, they actually benefit from the fact that, yeah, for them, social media can close deals
Hmm.
for them, but they also have to do all the BS that comes with having a big audience. Um, and you're chasing trends, you're making videos that don't necessarily align with who you want to be and stuff like that. And so um, there's a trade off that you have, you know.
Yeah, 100%. And unless your transactions are taking, like Brian said, unless your transactions are taking place online, you're not going to sell. Um, you're not going to sell from your content.
Mm-mm.
Now, I don't know if this is coming up in one of our points, but you need to find out what your goal of social media is too, right? We didn't really talk about that. Where, like, okay, so why am I doing all this again,
Mhm.
Brian? Why am I doing this? Why do I even need to be on social media? Well, you're trying to get brand awareness, trying to people to see you,
Mhm.
and then you want them to do something. So you want to give them education, but at the same time, you want them to come in. You want them to head to your website, look at your menu if you're a restaurant,
Mhm.
or head to your website and look at your services. You know, have them sign up for a free. I don't know, sign up for a free newsletter that you put out if that's the type of business you're in or whatever. But I will say that we don't talk a lot about social media with email, but email is still um, still king as far as delivering direct to people, right?
Yep.
Direct to consumer. So make that your goal. Sign up, and every now and then we send out special offers we're having, or special rebates we're having, or special deals we're having, depending on the business you're in. So make them do something. Like, here's what I got. Here's what it'll do for you. Here's what I want you to do next. Those are the 3 rules of marketing that I use online. Those are the
Yep.
3 digital marketing rules that I kind of live by.
And I think the thing is, when we say, what are we here for? You're trying to establish yourself as somebody that they can trust. You're trying to
Hmm.
bridge that trust gap so that by the time they come and see you in person, they've already established this kind of parasocial relationship with you, I should say. And they have this level of trust in what you're offering. They know that you can solve their problem. And so you don't have to go and build all that rapport again. So it bridges that rapport gap, where this person doesn't know you, but you've given them very valuable information. And now they're like, okay, I need to get the direct benefit of actually going and purchasing whatever solution they're selling from them. And so the reason why we're saying specifically the specific you that's watching needs to be generating and being active on their own social media marketing is this. Um, this is an opportunity that I don't know if it's going to exist again in where we're at in terms of digital communication, where social media companies are basically begging you to put content onto their platform. They're begging you to post things and post videos and stuff, and they're rewarding you through having people find you and discover you. The reason why they're doing that is the more content you put on their website or on their social media platform, the more ads they can run, the more they can get money from these corporations that are paying for advertising. And so it's the old television model of
Yep.
how the only reason we have shows and news on television is so that they can put commercials in between it. You know, it's not for your it's not for your entertainment.
Right.
Unless you're watching public television. You know, it's not for your benefit. The reason why there are television shows is because networks have found that they can put commercials in between the television shows and make money from advertisers that are paying to show those commercials. And
Yeah.
so what social media companies are doing, they're kind of approaching it the same way. If your little 2-minute video about your nail salon has a good following, what they're going to do is they're going to put a commercial either before or after it, and then they're going to charge somebody uh, for showing that commercial, and that's how they make their money. So
Yeah.
these these corporations, these social media companies are saying, please give us more stuff to show people. And as a business owner, that benefits you. And right now, here's the reality. Brian and I we've both done paid ads on social media. We've done Google ads, I've done Facebook ads, I've even done against my better judgment ads on Twitter. I paid for ads on pretty much every major platform that there is. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases of like running
Yeah.
ads and stuff collectively over the span of years and years. Um, social media companies are realizing that these paid ads don't go as far as content that looks like it's organic because people don't want to see ads.
Yeah. They have what's called ad fatigue, where
Mhm.
I mean, I can tell you YouTube ads that anybody that is, I don't know, let's say 18 or younger, doesn't even have to look.
Mm-mm.
They can do it without looking, skip the ad as soon as it comes on. 3,
Yep.
4 seconds. They're not listening to your ad. They're not watching your ad. All they're doing, they got their finger ready to hit on their phone. Boom, skip ad. Get me to the content.
Yeah.
So it's beneficial right now, like Brian said, it's beneficial right now. The mutual partnership that these social platforms have with the content creators, right? That it's good for the content creators right now. Like,
Mm.
I understand it's hard to get seen. That's the wash, but they need people to keep creating content.
Yeah.
They have to have it or they die.
Right. And that's the truth. Because there's no money in having a social media platform if you can't sell advertising. Like you
Yeah.
don't make any money. And so they're incentivized to absolutely have you post as much content as possible on their platforms. And so for the business owner, the benefit you get is they're trying desperately. They want to. And so specifically, they're trying to prioritize video. I'm just telling you guys this. It's not saying you have to post videos. It's not saying you have to record videos, but all these platforms are basically prioritizing video because video is the easier delivery system for ads. I mean, you could put in a midstream ad. Sometimes Facebook's ad delivery is so terrible that
Yeah.
you can't even get back to the video that you were watching because the ad just keeps popping up. But
Mhm.
um, but that's what they're trying to do. And so take advantage of it while it's free
Yeah.
because it's not going to be like this forever. I'm just telling you guys.
Right. So just real quick, we'll stick on that point. I'll hit these beats real quick.
Okay.
Share real stories from your work or life, right? Simple beats fancy. Helpful beats impressive,
Hmm.
and sound familiar and memorable, and don't try to sound smart. If you're smart, that is what it is. That'll come off naturally, but that's kind of those beats that you want to hit, right?
Yep. And understand this,
So,
guys.
go ahead.
Most people communicate at a most people comprehend. Like I saw the thing. Most people their reading comprehension, even if you're talking about it, people with advanced degrees, when it comes to like casual reading comprehension, they're comprehending at a sixth grade reading level or less. And so sometimes it's not the best time to be verbose and flaunt your vocabulary. State it plain, make it as
Yeah.
plain as possible, because you got to understand most of your audience is coming to you reading at like if you can get that sweet spot of like was it third to fifth grade reading level,
Hmm.
um, you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, they just remember it easier. They comprehend it, like you said, easier.
Yeah. Especially if it's something that they don't know that they didn't need. Because now you got to comprehend, do I need this thing? And then if it's jargon
Right.
heavy, it gets them confused and everything.
Yeah, for sure. So I think we kind of, this is funny. We kind of hit this point here, our next point, which is what's the point?
Right.
I think we kind of hit all that stuff. Let me go through some of these points I wanted to hit.
Wh-
Um,
While you're looking at hey, Josh, how's it going? Joshua, how's it going, man? Thanks for tuning
hey
in.
Josh, thanks for
Uh,
coming.
Maybe we could throw out a little bit of email strategies. I think that's what he's asking for.
Okay. Um, let me think. Let me how do we tie social media into email? Is that the question or
Well, how like I guess because we talked about it, think last week or the week before, where you mentioned that, and maybe we can even just restate what you said about how people are overlooking email as a way to make money, email
yeah,
marketing as a viable way to make money.
it's still the king, and the reason is the return on it. I can't remember the stat right off the top of my head, but um, I think I don't remember the stat, but I know it's the highest return on investment when you have the proper email channels
Mhm.
and proper email campaigns set up. Now, the problem with email, here's the wash. It's the best, right? But you have to have a list, and it has to
Yeah,
be your list, and it has to be a good list and a relevant list, and it has to be, you can't just buy a list off a CD off eBay like back in the
please
day
don't.
and start spamming people, right? Um, that's not the way. Um, Couple strategies: use social media to build your list, use your retail location to build your list. A lot of people don't do restaurants and stuff that have POS systems. I guess it's
Mhm.
not just restaurants, but anybody that has POS systems and has a retail spot, you should be getting emails at your POS system, right?
Yep.
To build your list, build your own list. The other way is to use other people's lists, partner with people. That's called co-branding, right?
Mhm.
Where you can say you mutual beneficial deal, you work out with them, send this deal to your list if it's relevant to them. That's another way you can use email. Um, but if you don't have a good list that's relevant to the people you're trying to hit, move on from email because it, it doesn't work unless the list is good.
Well, and that's why all these restaurants have all these loyalty programs, right? Like to
Hmm.
capture your email. I remember, when Facebook acquired Instagram years and years ago, people thought, oh, they're acquiring Instagram because it's the hottest social media platform. Facebook didn't care about that. They wanted the emails. They wanted the email list because the email
Yeah,
list was where the money was. Because now they have all these emails, they can start building profiles of all these other new people and start marketing to them. And so the email list is gold. That is the most important thing. And one industry that I actually have interest in. Um, I saw what happened firsthand when somebody swiped an email list from a former employer and the fallout of that. It got ugly and contentious really fast
yeah,
because the email list is business. And so, whatever you do, and this is a lesson for me, whatever you do, try to capture their emails. Um,
hmm,
so that, if your shop burns down or something happens or you got a flood and you got to relocate, you have an ability to re-engage your clients really, really fast.
yeah. And an old saying from the old internet marketer days, like the Dan Kennedys and stuff like that, is your email list, the cash is in the list, is what they say, but it's literally like an ATM for a business. If your
Yep.
list is good enough and large enough, you can send something out every once in a while. You don't want to overload because then you're just beating the list and your list turns not so good, right?
Right.
But you can literally send something out and people will buy. I mean, if I told you you have a list of 1 million people and you could almost guarantee that 10% will buy from you, I mean,
Yeah.
email's important, so don't sleep on it for sure. Thanks for bringing that up, though, Josh. I appreciate that.
Yep. Thank you, Josh. The last thing I'll throw in there about the email stuff is that's how a lot of these small, because on social media, small creators, somebody with like, was 1,000 or less.
Mhm.
That's how these small creators are absolutely wrecking these big time names and stuff because they have an email list and they can engage those people, and like it's just a license to print money because their
Hmm.
audience is aligned with what they're saying. Here's a product I designed to help you out. Here it is. And they blast down the email list. Instantly, they get a return. They don't have to be monetized. They don't have to go through the AdSense program. They don't have to deal with any partner programs or creators funds or anything. That is literally, they've monetized their audience off the rip. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of people don't understand that's how the game is played, at a higher level. But yeah, always capture the email. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
All right, where are we at?
Let's see here. I think we're to the what can you ignore?
Yeah. All right. What can you ignore? Wow. Um, I think I'll throw it out there. Um, I typically ignore brand new social media platforms. Like if they're brand spanking new, and I
Hmm.
don't have I already have a vested interest. Like I'm not, if it doesn't capture my imagination and it inspires me to create stuff, I typically will just leave it alone until it proves to be viable. Um,
Hmm.
because more times than not, the people that are going to be on brand new social media sites are going to be kids. They're always the first market that's going to test out social media platforms, and more times than not, kids aren't buying aren't in a position to buy your services without having to
Right.
go through parents. I'm still not on Snapchat. I don't know how Snapchat works. My brain doesn't work in Snapchat world.
Yeah. It's a specific crowd in my opinion. I don't use Snapchat either. Little offshoot here, little side quest. I don't actually even use social media as a consumer much. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm too busy helping clients or doing stuff for my own business that I'm not on there posting and reading. Like my whole feed on Facebook is filled with industry stuff, right?
Right,
Family pictures from my immediate family and a little bit like uncles and aunts and cousins and stuff, and then industry stuff that I do ingest, right? So I just talked to somebody in one of my networking groups about this because they were afraid. Like, I don't do social media. I was like, you need to curate your own feeds, right?
right,
Don't get involved in the stuff and the drama that people are always getting and arguing over, and don't get involved in that stuff. And I don't post anything about anything like that. The only things I engage with are business or industry things that I can help someone or I can get help from someone, right?
right,
And so I've curated it over time on all the platforms that I do use. My Instagram is full of food, so it's my interest, food and cars and sports, right?
right.
And that's it. I don't get into any other drama. And people don't need to get lost in that stuff. Curate your own social media, and yeah, I just want to throw that out there. A little side quest. Sorry.
Well, that's a good point because here's the thing I will throw out there. I talk to a lot of people that sit there and they're kind of locked. They've created this content bubble on their social media where it's full of negative stuff that they don't like. And all it does is make them mad. And I always push back and say, okay, here's the thing I need you to understand. You've basically built your own prison for social media.
Yeah.
You've designed a prison of your own making. And the reason why is because you'll see something vile or something that offends you, and you will not only will you comment on it, but then you blast it out and share it to a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
What that does is it tells the social media platform, hey, this person engages with this kind of content. They need to see more of it.
Right.
And it becomes this negative reinforcement thing where you get constantly served things that outrage you or piss you off or disgust you. And because you share them immediately, now what happens is social media is like, send them more of that stuff because obviously they're really liking it. Because if they didn't like it, they wouldn't share it.
Yep.
And you end up, and so I cultivate my social media feed by hiding things that I don't want to see or telling it, don't show this to me anymore. You have the power to do that as a consumer. If you see something you don't like, instead of posting a diatribe of why you don't like this thing, um, just say, I don't want to see this content anymore,
Yeah.
and don't share it.
And I will tell you, I think you alluded to this earlier at the beginning of the show here, is you get engaged in that can come back to bite you. I've seen
Yeah.
business owners that have engaged with that stuff on some of the local scenes here, and then they end up shutting their business because people are just like, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
I don't
And
like that guy.
unless that's your brand. You guys got to understand,
Right.
it's really super
Yeah.
specific, because Dan Kenny talked about that. Sometimes that is your brand. That's his brand.
Yes.
His brand is sometimes brash and abrasive and stuff, and it draws people in. I'm not necessarily engaged with that side of his content, but
Right.
he has fans that are fans of that level of brashness. And so that's what he banks on. And so he utilizes it as a whittling down process, because if you like how brash and bold he is, you're going to put money in his pockets. That is not a strategy for everybody. If you are selling something,
it's tough to pull off.
yeah. If you're selling something that somebody could get everywhere, like say your business is selling bottles of water, not high-end bottles of water, just bottles of water. That's what your business is. And you can go to any gas station in the world and get that same bottle of water and it tastes the same. It's probably not a good idea to be the brash, obnoxious, offensive person on social media, because
Yeah.
people can easily opt out. Now, if you're selling bottles of water that are premium products, and the premium branding is based around your brashness and boldness and willingness to offend people, and you've cultivated an audience based on that, yeah, they will absolutely support you. The other part of that is that audience will turn on you for any number of
Quickly.
offenses, and you won't even know why. They hate you all of a sudden. And so
Yeah.
you got to be really careful when you're playing with people's primal. When you start dealing with people's primal, like the primal things that they can't even put into
Yeah.
words, you're playing with fire. You can make a lot of money off of it. You also could detonate yourself with it.
Yeah. 100%. And there's people that do it like you're saying, and it works for them. And then there's people that could do brashness or the bad boy, bad girl kind of image that can work for them. I just top of my head, someone like an Andy Frisella, right?
Yeah.
Do you know who that is?
No.
He owns First Form. They're a supplement company, but he's pretty harsh. He's pretty brash, and it's more motivational.
Yeah.
Is kind of his shtick, but he's pretty harsh. He's like, get off your ass, do this.
Okay.
It can turn people off real quick. I respect his business part of his brain.
Mm.
The motivational stuff is kind of beyond me. I don't not how
Mhm.
not how my vibe is really. So, but done right, I mean, the guy's a billionaire, or
Oops. Oh, he must have disconnected. Oh, so it looks like Brian might have disconnected real quick, so he'll probably be popping back on here. But to kind of continue on what he's saying, he's the guy he's talking about made his money with being brash and kind of belligerent. But like I said, you're walking that razor's wire. You can either cultivate an audience that's solely engaged with your brashness and boldness, or you can create an audience that is just literally waiting for you to put blood in the water so they can swarm on you and tear you apart. So just be careful. Like I said, it's the challenge about it for a business owner, specifically when you're going with a personality branded business, is it can change on a dime, and all it takes is one minor disagreement with your core audience, and next thing you know, you're out of business. And so it's just being mindful. It's being really mindful of how you're approaching that side of things, and that's just the challenge. I know, one of the guys I follow or followed is Mark Ribito. He is the founder of Starting Strength, and ideologically, politically, me and him couldn't be more opposite. Could not be more opposite. Ideologically, me and Rip, I follow Mark Ripito. He's a strength coach. He has an entire brand called Starting Strength. Starting Strength. He is, from a branding and marketing standpoint, is genius. But he's also a personality driven business. His offering is, I teach you how to start lifting weights. And I teach a program that is fine for your grandma to come and start lifting weights and start getting basic strength training, or your 14-year-old son to come start lifting weights. And the movements we use are simple. My programming is simple. 3 sets of 5. Your core lifts are going to be bench, deadlift, squat, overhead press, maybe cleans. That's it. And 3 sets of 5. Period. Unless it's deadlift, it's 1 set of 5. Very easy to remember program, and he's branded that, and he makes a fortune off of it. In order to get certified as a starting strength coach, you have to go down to Texas, Wichita Falls, Texas, or wherever there's a starting strength gym nearby, and pay their fee. And it's almost like, they compare it to engineering courses, like having that level of knowledge and stuff. But he makes his money. But ideologically, me and him couldn't be further apart from a political standpoint, but it works for him.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where it's at. But you have to be careful, especially if you're brand new. If you're brand new and you're going to lean into that personality-driven business, understand that might be the box you put yourself in until you launch a new business venture.
100%.
So, yep.
Sorry, I got disconnected there. This whole Osmo Pocket 3, it wants to disconnect after like an hour for some reason. I don't know what the deal is.
Firmware update, maybe? I don't know. I haven't
tried it. It's a known issue. So
okay.
They just haven't figured it out. I might have to change up the old camera here.
I'm looking at
for next week.
I'm actually looking at getting another Elgato face cam, because right now I'm using a Sony for this, and I'm still liking the picture on the Elgato face cam. I think the sensor is too small on this one for what I wanted to do. But all right, so guys, that's the basics of social media marketing. Let's run it down. You don't have to be. You're not trying to be an influencer. Virality doesn't mean anything. Pick the platform you're most comfortable with, the one you're most familiar with. Be yourself. Like, I'm coming off the top of the head. Be yourself.
Yeah. Pick who you're talking to.
Right.
Talk about their problems. Frequently asked questions. Invite them to respond. It's kind of simple as that. I mean,
yeah, and get your reps in. I mean, you have the benefit if you have brand new social media. If you have a brand new social media account for your business, more times than not, people aren't going to see what you're posting anyway, and so you should be okay. You don't have to worry about the judgment of the world coming. It took almost 6 months before one of my posts actually broke containment and scared me off of a specific social media site that I was posting on, where I ended up getting a huge, people were arguing with me and stuff. That was my first exposure to it, but it took almost 6 months of dedicated posting to get to that point. And so,
I would say you're right. You're 100% right. That I think the one takeaway that we can give everybody is the simple point you just made. Get the reps in. It'll get easier. You'll start figuring out your flow of how you do it, what makes sense for you, how you're going to do it, how you're going to shoot it, how you're going to talk, and you keep doing it. Then it just becomes part of what you do on a regular basis, right? And that is what makes it easier. It's what's working for me too. I'm doing this more often, and I'm starting to plan out my 2026 very content heavy for 531 laps coming forward.
Let's go. Speaking of 2026, Brian and I are kind of kicking around an idea. Let's see how many people are interested in this thing. We're putting together a virtual workshop to get you guys launched right in 2026. We're trying to figure out, we're planning out the dates and everything. And this is not going to be a free workshop. I mean, you're going to pay for the seats, but what you're going to get is almost 2.5 hours of us, where you can bounce questions off of us, and we can give you a playbook for how to use social media to market your business in 2026. And if it's successful, we'll do some follow-ups in terms of incorporating AI and a couple of other things that we specialize in. But if that's something you guys are interested in, and wherever you see this, leave a like or say, hey, count me in. Matter of fact, just comment, count me in if that's something you're interested in. And we will absolutely be reaching out to you when we're ready to launch the thing.
And I think it's something that will bring high value. And I want them to know that at the end of something like that, because I've done workshops in the past, and when people pay to come to a workshop, they really need to get actionable value, and that's what we're concentrating it on. And you walk away with something, and not just a written plan, but maybe some templates and things you can actually use
Yep.
to make the introduction to social media and getting your business on the digital platforms more often. It can make it easier because, like Brian said, I had 23 years in this. He has 10 plus years in this. It's templates and stuff like that can really go a long way to getting you started,
Oh,
and then
absolutely.
you can do the reps, and then it all becomes second nature to you. I don't Just a small caveat. I go and I make coffee every single morning. I could do it with my eyes closed because I've done it for, you know, 25 years now. And because I have so many reps in doing it, I have a specific way I do it.
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly how much coffee. I don't have to measure it. I know how much water, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So that's what we want to get for you guys in a workshop like this, is to be able to do something with it. I don't want you to walk away and do nothing. That's pointless for you, and it's pointless for us. You right?
Right.
So I just want to throw that out there.
And I have an idea. I'll talk to you off air about it, but I have an idea of a value add that might be transformative for some people, so that we can
Awesome.
get started. Because here's the thing, and I've talked about it. If you follow me, you know that my take on New Year's resolutions is a lot of times they're just a bullshit way to keep you from getting the things done that you want to get done. And I have a very specific reason why. Um, but we're going to try to give you as many tools, and there's a specific way I'm thinking of that can add value so that you guys can go out and implement. Because a lot of times the gap in your knowledge isn't you don't know enough. The gap in your knowledge is actually execution.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't
100%.
executed the thing.
And that's what I
And
like giving people. I don't want to produce or give people motivation porn, they call it.
yeah,
Right? I'm not
yeah,
trying to do that. It's not helpful.
right. And that was kind of the box, Gary V's my boy. That was the box that he fell into for a while, where it's just motivating. And then he started telling how to do the things. And it's like, oh, now there's more value in what you're saying.
Yeah.
Um, and so that I think people don't execute. Like they get all the knowledge in their head and then they never execute the thing to test out what knowledge works for them and what knowledge does not work for them.
Hell,
Um,
I'm guilty of it.
yeah. It happens to me. Like I have a lot
Yeah.
of things. I have a bunch of books and all these other self-help things that all I got to do is implement them, but
Mm-hmm.
I haven't executed on the first step. And so for what we're saying is with this workshop, we're going to try to make the execution piece like it's almost contingent. Like maybe we'll even make some kind of agreement with our attendees. Like we need to see that you've actually gone out here and executed the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Incentivize them to do that. But we got that coming up, and so Brian and I are planning that out. So you guys will be seeing more about that. Probably can even talk about it. We'll take a couple of days, probably talk about it over the week, and then
Mm-hmm.
maybe we could post the link next week so people can get signed up for it.
Yeah, 100%.
But um, I'm looking at the clock. I have to go pick up children here in a second.
Same.
So, guys, we do appreciate y'all tuning in. Hopefully, we've answered some questions on these live streams. This opportunity to be able to pick some marketers' brains for free. We don't hold anything back, and so if you got questions, this is your chance to jump in on these comments threads and actually ask us questions so we
Yeah,
can answer
100%.
them for you. And so that's all I got. Brian, do you have anything else?
No, that's it. I'm glad we did this again, and I look forward to next week. And like Brian said, you'll see some stuff coming out from us here shortly regarding that workshop, and we'll get all the details straightened out and get it going live for you guys.
All right. So that's all we got. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks.
The message in the machine. Talk to you later. Peace.
Yeah, peace.